Hey guys, welcome to Max TV. In today's episode, we're going to be retrofitting this DR-HD100 recorder with a solid state drive. Now in previous video, I have shown you how to retrofit this line of recorders with a swappable CF card. However, if you don't want to do extra steps with a CF card reader and you're wanting to upgrade the hard drive inside for whatever reason, then this video is for you. This line of recorders contains standard 44-pin IDE hard drive, so unless we're going to do a direct replacement, we can't feed a SATA drive without SATA to IDE converter, and those converters won't fit inside this unit. So I found the PCI to IDE converter. I'll show you, here it is, and that perfectly fits inside the unit. And I got this solid state drive as well. I have fitted CF cards to numerous of those recorders. In fact, one of them is recording this video right now, but I have never tried using IDE to PCIe converter. So let's get to the bench and find out if this idea will work. Alright guys, so here we are at the bench with all the components we need. So we will need a screwdriver, solid state drive, the recorder itself, and the little converter that I found on eBay for about $6, I think they were. Let's have a look at it. It's got the controller chip, the 44-pin IDE, and of course the slot for the mini PCI-E hard drive. So let's start with the hard drive and let's mount it onto the converter. Now I have measured it before and I ran into a problem. For some reason you would think that it would go that way and firmly sit there, but it's actually going to be upside down, and for some reason they left those empty. It would have been a better idea to populate that side with the memory chips and leave that side blank. The reason is when I insert it, there we go. I don't know if you can see, let me get the white background so you can see better. So as you close it, you can see that it's not even touching the screws yet. I'll zoom in for that. So if you look at it, we can see that it's not even touching the screws, but the components there, especially the chips, touching what are those two little diodes? No, it's not diodes. It's actually a voltage regulator. You can see if I can get a better light. Yeah. Damn. The voltage regulator itself is touching the just touching the memory chips. So as you can see, that voltage regulator is touching just on top here. So I'm probably going to put a piece of Kapton tape just to keep the heat off it, because I don't know why they would do such a design. But yeah, without any further ado, let me get some tape. Alright, so I'm going to put some Kapton tape on it. Just to prevent heat going into the memory module, so I'll take 2 pieces of it and just stick one of them onto the hard drive, well, or solid state drive, and the second one onto the board itself here, probably that way. Actually, I'll leave the chip alone, or just put it over the voltage regulator. We'll cut a smaller piece. Another thing I found about this Kapton tape, that it's not really, it doesn't have much adhesive on it, so it's easily removed unless it's stuck to itself. It's really easily removed. So let's attach the hard drive. I'm really surprised that they've done that. Maybe it's just the dodgy hard drive. I didn't want to spend much money on it just in case it didn't work. So the drive itself costed me around $40. I'm not going to tighten it too much, just to prevent bending and damaging it. So just when it feels snug but not too tight. So here we have it. So now we're just going to fit this module into the recorder. Alright, let's open it up. So I'll remove the battery first. I was actually going to do a video on repacking those batteries, but the batteries that I bought never arrived, and they costed me, I think, around $30. It worked out to be, there's 3 batteries inside, and it worked out to be $30 plus postage for those batteries. I waited for about 2 months, and they never came, so that was unfortunate. But those recorders are actually quite nice when they're not faulty. I had ones before that the recorder was just freezing up and doing all sorts of weird things. So I guess maybe firmware, and I've tried finding the firmware for it, but I had no luck. I've tried contacting Focus, but Focus doesn't exist anymore. They've been bought out by some other corporation, which I've emailed, and I said, look, well, you bought the company, I'm sure you have some sort of archive with the firmware, I need to upgrade the firmware. And they said that no, they don't keep the firmware for that long, which is unusual. Usually I've had the projector from 1995 or something, and I needed a firmware for it, and I've contacted the company, I think it was Focus actually as well, surprisingly, and they, wait a second, that was Focus? No, that was InFocus, sorry. And they did send me firmware for it. So once we removed all the screws, we got 2 wires holding it. So those sides will fall out, as you can see easily, in the back of it. So the first wire is going to the fan, which we're going to disconnect. And in a previous recorder that where I used CF card, I've actually removed the fan because there was no need for it. But in this one, those drives do get warm, so I'll keep the fan in. So now we'll disconnect the hard drive. Wait, there's more wires. There's battery wires that we disconnect. So now I will carefully disconnect that ribbon cable, which is the 44-pin standard IDE. They're very, very snug in there. There we go. So now we're just going to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws and take the hard drive out. Actually, I'm wondering if, yeah, no. So we'll take the hard drive out. Yeah, it'd be easier to do it that way. It would have been good if they used, I guess they didn't have SATA back in the day, but SATA would have been great in those recorders. And you can see there's not much space to feed a standard SATA converter, SATA to IDE, because they flat and they plug straight in the back of a hard drive, and the board is quite larger than the hard drive, so there'd be no space to fit it anywhere. So that's been removed. So there we have it, the back lead with a battery connector and the fan, and there's a hard drive. So now we're going to remove the hard drive, and I'm going to keep that drive because you can plug it into any IDE reader and you'll get the data off it, because I have some data on that hard drive that I forgot to transfer. It was a footage from a friend. She filmed one of her seminars or something, so I haven't transferred it yet, but I will. So once the drive is removed, let's explore how we can mount this one onto here. So we need it around there. So I'm thinking maybe double-sided tape. There is no really actually any mounting holes on it, surprisingly, or I could drill. Actually, that's what I'll probably do. I will, it looks like there is still quite a bit of space left in those little holes, so I might line it up. Yes, so what I'll do is I'll line it up so it's centered, just the way old hard drive was, so around maybe here. and I'll drill 2 holes, and I'll use very strong adhesive tape on that side, and actually maybe on both sides, and 2 screws just to keep it in place. So give me a moment, I will line it up, drill the holes, and I'll be right back. Alright, so the holes have been drilled, the appropriate size screws have been found, and now it's time to apply a little bit of adhesive tape. I'm using this gel type tape. I found it really nice tape. Holds things quite strongly. So I won't use too much, I'll probably use just on both sides. That should be plenty. Very sticky stuff. Ooh. And it always falls sticky side up, surprisingly. Yeah, that should be great. So I'll use 2 slices like that, that should be plenty. Actually, yeah, I've dropped quite a few times that tape, and it's always fell sticky side up, never fell sticky side down, so I'm gonna use it just here. And the second one just under the screws here. Trim it. This time it fell sticky side down, of course. Alright. So probably better idea is to test it first, just in case if it doesn't work. So I'm going to transfer the cable of the hard drive, noting where pin 1 is to make sure you don't do it upside down. And let's plug it into the main board along with the battery and power it up just to see if it works in case it fails. I don't want to stick it already on the platform. Now let's hook up the battery. I'm not going to bother hooking up the fan. And for the battery I need to get that connector out if I can. They tucked it away well. There we go. Alright, so battery connector. Let's put the battery on. And turn it on. Oh, it worked. 429 minutes. Let's format it. Yeah, it works. The lights on the drive are on. Now let's format it. How do I? Oh, there we go. Control, play, reels, utilities, I think. Yeah, format. And it's formatting. Let's see if the space will increase. Maybe there was some files, and it's a brand new drive, but you never know. 429 minutes, cool. Alright, so I will turn it off and let's put it together. Wait till it fully powers down. And it's powered off. Remove the battery, disconnect it, disconnect that again. Oh jeez, they are so tight, those connectors. There we go. Always be careful when you're pulling. You don't want to pull one side and suddenly bend all the pins onto the other side. Stresses them out. Alright, now let me find something. I lost my little tweezers. That's alright, I've got another one somewhere. There. I'll use the ceramic ones, even though I use them for soldering SMD components. Getting the backside of this adhesive tape is not an easy task either. As you can see, it's completely transparent film, and it's thick. It's about maybe almost a millimeter, I'd say, but it's very, very strong. Alright, now we're going to make sure that, actually I'll trim that tape a little bit here because it's covering the hole. Alright, let's align it with my drilled holes. I'm probably better doing it from this side. I'll probably have to use a light just so it doesn't misalign. Alright, so that's aligned with the holes perfectly. Is it sitting straight or is it slightly off? Ah, doesn't matter, it's aligned with the holes. Now let me find those screws. So again, I trust that tape to hold that in place, but you know, it's better safe than sorry. So here's one. And where's the second one? And there's the second one. Great. So that's been mounted. A lot smaller and lighter than the original hard drive. So again, I'm not sure how far this goes. The drive that I've currently had in there is Hitachi 100 gig. So this one is, how big is this one? Huh, I didn't even, it doesn't say on the packaging, does it? Oh, 64 gig, which is plenty for me because I don't use the camera for, you know, holidays. It's quite a big camera. I use it for you know, short footages like you see the intro. In fact, once I plug it in, we'll hook it up to the camera and I'll show you. So I don't need too much space. 64 gig is roughly probably, well, it's 474 minutes. That's a bit, that doesn't add up. Maybe I need to change format, usually it's a lot less. But yeah, let's put this together. So that goes back into the enclosure. Now we have 4 screws that are extras because they were holding the hard drive, so we don't need them anymore. So let's put this back together. And see how this performs. Alright, so that's been screwed back in. So putting it together is quite simple. So first you'd have to connect the battery, obviously without the battery installed, just the battery connection, and tuck it away under the board where it was before. Once that's done, leave the recorder flat on its face and install all the side panels. Like they don't clip or anything, they're just sitting there held by the top and the bottom of it, so they can easily fall out. So once the panels are in place, then connect the fan back in. Again, I'll need tweezers for that. Alright, there we go. So the fan's in, and then connect the hard drive. So the hard drive you're going to be connecting while the recorder is in a V-shaped kind of position. So just get the connector over the, I'll see if I can show you, over the first pin, which is a marked cable wire. So it's aligned. Once it's aligned, use the finger and press it onto the board. So that's done. As you can see, we lost that panel again. Alright, so, and now just press it all together. Great. So I'm just going to put all the back screws in. Alright, so all the screws are back in. Reattach the battery and let's make sure it works one more time. Let me just wipe that screen from all the fingerprints. while it's powering up. Alright, and it's working. So let's hook it up to the camera and see how it performs. The recorder has been installed in the camera and fully operational. This footage has been recorded with the HD100 that we have just retrofitted with a solid state drive. Let me grab the camera and I'll show you the device in action. So excuse the mess. I got a bit of a mess here, so bright lights everywhere. Alright, so if we look at the camera, it is, as you can see, let me focus, as you can see, it's recording just fine with no problem. Let's go around and have a look at the recorder itself. Here it is, it's recording with no problems at all. So I'll just go back. Oh, what a mess, small space. And I lost my remote control for my teleprompter. Jeez, I just had it in, oh, it's in my pocket. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, as you can see, it works just fine with the new hardware. So thanks for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to Max TV. There will be plenty more videos coming out in the future with the interesting projects. I'm Max, see you next time.